it's the same exact thing. Start breathing in. 1, 2, ready, breathe in. Four, 2, 1. Very nice. All right. Next, we're going to take out our foundation books, and we're going to start with chord study number 1, which is page 29 for winds and mouths and page 67 for snares. You have a choice in octaves, and the one that is the most comfortable. All right. Give it a try.
Oil? Yeah.
All right. So that was our one time going through. Just get a handle on the notes. We're going to play through it a couple more times. This first time we're going to play it with a normal eighth note articulation, not staccato or legato, nice, neutral, in the middle. Alright, so now we're going to go through it again. This time we're going to play staccato. Remember that staccato means detached and not necessarily short. But we are dealing with eighth notes, so that's going to, of course, be shorter than if you were playing a staccato quarter note half note. So think about giving space between the notes. When Carmen's instruments be up, you all start them together. Alright, I'm going to play it one more time. This time with your most legato, your most connected articulation. Alright, and of course in Homeward Bound, that's a lot of what we're going to be getting here, articulate a lot of that legato style. So, our piece is in E flat major, so we're going to start by warming up with an E flat, concert E flat scale, 1 octave. Each note gets a half note, 2 beats. Don't repeat the top. going, after we have our principal clarinet nice and tuned, we're going to tune the brass. We're going to bring in the low brass first, and then gradually expand up to the high brass. And then we'll do the same thing again with woodwinds. Our low woodwinds coming first, and then invite the rest of the woodwinds to join us. So, let's see what happens today. Yeah. All right, let's tune the C down the octave. Come. Brass. Keep playing, maybe the good adjusting trumpets. All right, we'll do it again for the woodwinds. So before we start working on the actual full piece, there was a piece of paper, understand, as you came in, that said Homeward Bound melody on it. We're going to start with that. Percussion, there are pieces to go over under the bulletin board. It doesn't have to be in the opposite. It's written for you. Percussion, find a valid instrument, choose one. For the rest of you, you will see that, for a lot of you, not all of you, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it means not talking about. For a lot of you, you will see that there are two size note heads. The regular size note heads are the melody with the contour as it's supposed to be played. For some of you, that works great in the contour range of your instrument. For some of you, it doesn't, or it's just not possible. So you might see little Q notes written up or down the octave. If it's necessary on your instrument, or for the range of what's comfortable to play those notes, feel free to go ahead and do so. But the big notes are there so you can see what the full contour of the melody is. Because the purpose of this exercise is so that we all know what the melody is, so that we can get out of the way of it. There are three main phrases to this melody, and we'll talk a little bit more about that after we play through it. So, percussion, join in as you get a chance. If you're standing around and you're set up and you want to pull out another mallet instrument, feel free to do so, so you're not just standing there staring. So, I'll leave you two, and then we'll hear some nice music and melody. That's what we need to be hearing the most, so that's what the audience can hear all the time while we're playing. So there are three main phrases to this melody, and they are split up by the verb. Within each of those phrases, you'll see that there are two slurs. And the reason we have it split up is that a lot of times at those halfway points of the phrase in the piece, who's playing the melody changes. There's a lot of melody changes in the piece because we don't want to do the melody. The other important thing that we want to remember will be stars at a later date. But in between those two slurs, there's a dash line, kind of like a dash slur. Does anybody know what that means, or can take a guess?
It's like supposed to be connected, but also
Exactly. It means it's still supposed to be connected. So that has to do with how we phrase and how we breathe in the music while we're playing. So the only place that we want to hear any sort of unison separation is at the breath marks. Beyond that, what are some rules for phrasing and breathing that we might know that we could apply in music? Yes?
Don't breathe with the people around you are breathing.
Very good. Don't breathe when people next to you are breathing. What else? So if we have that dash line that we intentionally wrote into the music to connect it, should we breathe on the dash line? No. Those of you shaking your heads, you're correct. Choose a place to breathe that isn't there. What other place? Where in the measure might also be a really bad place to breathe? Exactly, on the bar line. So when you're planning out breathing, listen for the person next to you, don't breathe them. Don't breathe on the bar line, don't breathe on the dotted dash line. You'll probably see me, if you watch, and I know it's easier to watch once you know the piece and the melody a little better, you will see that I'm doing what I can to help you out with that. So keeping those things in mind, let's play through it one more time. Very nice. Alright, so now we're going to take out the piece and we're going to transfer everything we just talked about into the piece. Discussion, some of you might not have been playing, and that's okay, but you should have been listening. I could ask you a question about what we talked about. That might be something you need to know or might be graded on at some point. Everything that is taught to everyone. If I'm working with the flutes, the clarinet should know what I'm talking about. So for now, we're going to be starting at the pick up to measure 30. For today, to come across anything that plays solo, it does not need to be a solo. If there's other people playing in front. For some of you, there's only one oboe, it's always a solo. But next week, we're going to start bringing in the real solos so that we can get a sense of the balance. So make sure you're looking at it. And for now, everyone at the pick up to measure 30. Make sure you can hear the melody. That's as far as we're going to be going for this section right here. Very nice. Olivia, for today, for this section, don't feel like you can play that solo, but very nice. So, based on what the exercise we just did, if you think you were playing the melody in that section, raise your hand. want to hear. So can I just hear our melody forward? Very nice. Make sure that we oblige that day we can go at the end of the measure. But very, very nice job with melody. I like that volume. I don't want them to play it any louder, so make sure that you can hear that. Now, some of you have some parts that complement that. It might be similar rhythm, but the pitches are different. So can I hear the people who just played plus clarinet 2 and trombone? Yeah. And same with you. You don't need to go and play something. You're totally fine. All right. So for some of us, that sounds great. If we're still working on pitch, we'll get it. But I think the balance there that we have so far is nice. But now what we want to do is add in the cool part. Because some of these are things that the audience hasn't heard before. So as a general rule, anytime you have moving notes that are a different rhythm than the melody, those are important. We want to hear those. A lot of times that comes in the form of a note that changes on beat 2. So you have a quarter note and a half note. What happens a lot, we want to hear that beat 2. That doesn't mean we're accenting, that doesn't mean we're playing a fortissimo all of a sudden, because that doesn't make sense in this piece. But we just want to lean on it, stress it a little bit. Wind sets with your air, percussion. You can still change the sound, you can still give the stress with how the drum or the bars on the mallet. So, I hear our accompaniment people, which is going to be anyone who did not just play.
Do we have that part? Yes or no?
Playing second is not like this bad, we need to have about that note rehearsal thing. It's harmony, we want to hear the colors. There we go. Alright. So, I don't know why we're whispering during rehearsal. So I want to hear those people one more time. Now we've played it once, we should all be a little more confident and really think about stressing those note changes on beat 2. For example, measure 30, there's an accent written on beat 2. Assume alto sax 2, tenor sax, French horn, euphonium. So within the character of that piece, we want to hear that accent. So let's hear everybody. Pick it to measure 30, everyone who just played one more time. Little more space is going to help that accent pop more. bassoon, tenor sax, euphonium, and vibes. You guys have a really cool thing starting at measure 32. I want to make sure you hear it and we bring it out. So just those people still pick up measure 30. Alright. Smith continue going out of there.
Were we starting after or around 32?
At 30. That might have been part of it. So, starting, we can start the downbeat of 30 for these people. Let's hear it one more time. If you do something funky, keep going. And those of you who got it, play out. We want to hear this part. And it's not going to cut over the high woodlands unless you play out. So, right on measure 30, those people one more time. Alright, so for those of us who still need to work on that, circle that, make that a practice spot. Let's put that all back together. And we want to hear the melody, most importantly, but we also want to make sure that we can hear people who are playing the part we were just working on, because that's what's cool and different. Pick up measure 30, everyone. All right, and now we're going to back up to the pickup to measure 22. And our melody here, well, I'm not going to tell you. I want you to listen, and I'm going to call on someone at the end to tell me who was playing melody. Pick up to measure 22. So someone who wasn't playing melody, who can tell me? Caution. Who can tell me who's playing melody? What instrument names? Low brass, euphonium, trombones. Okay, very good. Who else? No, we got them. Were there any woodwinds playing? No? No? Not there. Close. All right, we're going to play it again. We got to measure 22. Who else is playing melody? And maybe we shouldn't be staring at the ground in the middle of rehearsing. Who else? Bassoon. Very good. And who came in partway through the section? Very good. The flutes came in. And I think we're doing a pretty nice job of balancing out, but we always want to know. who's playing. Because that might be something you want to write in your music so that you can make sure you can hear them. So, we're going to back up one more time to measure 14. Again, we want to make sure we can hear the melody. With the pickup. So, the more you hear the melody, the more people who come in those beats, like the tenor sax and the chimes, you'll be able to hear it. In the meantime, I'll help you out, but make sure you're also counting. Don't just rely on me because I can make a mistake too. Cornets, make sure that those legato squirt notes are very, very gooey and connected. So can I just hear everyone playing who is not the solo, not the melody? No pickup. Right on 14. Make sure that you're thinking when you have to play it that you need to breathe with the wind, and that'll help you be right in time.
Okay.
But they were in the right place. You were counting correctly. And I know that sounds silly, but they have to breathe. So let's do it one more time to become people. Try and be as confident and tenor because that helps us hear if there's something that we need to work on in lessons and stuff like that. So my confident people, one more time. Good job with the goo. All the notes and all the changes are right. A couple of us aren't quite keeping the tempo, so just make sure that even if you're not playing eighth notes, that you're still thinking them in your head. Because it's a lot easier to rush quarter notes or drag quarter notes than it is eighth notes. So let's put everybody back together at 14, and we're going to go all the way through the section we've worked on today with the pickup.